The Truth About Americans and Voting. August 18, 2020 by Anna von Reitz. If you read the 14th Amendment put in place by the Scottish Interloper, which set up shop in 1868 and began doing business as the United States of America, Incorporated, you will see that municipal citizens of the United States and average Americans were forbidden to vote in territorial elections. More than 9 million people, a majority of the otherwise eligible population at the time, were disenfranchised, and denied any say as to who would serve as president of the territorial services provider. To this day, so far as their public records stand, it is illegal under their private law, for anyone but a territorial employee or dependent to vote in their corporation elections. Notice the nice little, damned if you do, damned if you don't, aspect of this. If you vote, you are either a criminal under their territorial law, or you must be one of them, right? This is why we tell people who are returning to American soil and to their birthright political status to rescind all voter registrations. The perpetrators of these venal commercial scams used a large number of adhesion contracts to assure themselves controlling interest in the American people and our assets. These undisclosed contracts served as evidence of voluntary federal citizenship, and therefore, also, subjection to federal rules and regulations, taxpayer status, and so on. An adhesion contract is a contract which is, on the face of it, improper and defective under our law, but allowed under their foreign law, and which can be enforced under Roman civil law, municipal law, so long as the victim does not recognize it for what it is and does not object. This includes unconscionable contracts like birth certifications, implied contracts like voter registrations, mandatory enrollments like Social Security, licensing scams like marriage licenses, and debt assumption scams like mortgages. The Roman civil law utilized by the municipal United States government is radically different from our law. For starters, it assumes guilt instead of innocence and allows undisclosed and implied contracts. It functions under the maxim of law which says, "Let him who will be deceived, be deceived." We have had a recent and startling public example of this with the charges brought against State of Washington Governor Jay Inslee for the damages his proclamations about COVID-19, wearing of face masks, etc., have caused. His reply: he could not be prosecuted for damages related to his proclamations because he never enforced them. He issued his proclamations fully knowing that to Joe Average, his proclamations appeared to have the force of law, but according to him, people obeyed his proclamations to their own detriment. And on their own responsibility. Let him who will be deceived, be deceived. Thousands of Washington businesses shut down, voluntarily, in answer to his hot air, and millions of Washingtonians have suffered because they obeyed his directives, but he claims that it's not his fault that they were deceived about the limits of his authority. They didn't stand up and tell him to stuff it, they didn't keep their doors open, a police sergeant didn't stand behind them and tie on their face masks, so it's their own fault they suffered, according to Governor Jay Inslee. I sincerely hope that the people of Washington wake up, take back their authority over snakes like Inslee, and get out their proverbial garden hose. The most effective way of doing that is to declare your proper political status as an American and join your state assembly. Stop volunteering. Many people say, but, if I don't vote, I'll be stuck with whatever scum gets elected. No, dears, if you vote, you become responsible for the scum that gets elected. Underline the word, responsible. And if you don't enforce the only actual contracts you have with these vermin, the respective federal constitutions, you have nobody to blame but yourselves. As part of our third decree over mandate, we have instructed our employees to cease and desist the pretense that their private corporation elections are public elections. We have our public elections to attend to, our people to educate, and our own governors to elect. Please note that the Governor of Oregon is a completely different office than the Governor of the State of Oregon. The private, for-profit corporation doing business as the State of Oregon will need to find new digs for their governor, and all those people who mindlessly obeyed Jay Inslee will have cause to remember their folly for a long time to come. Links to Anna's articles and resources can be found in the video description box. Thank you for subscribing, liking and sharing. If you enjoy having Anna's latest articles made into videos, please consider making a purchase from Ed's website sacredintuitiveelements.com. Thank you.